Welcome back, guys. This is episode 4 of the Blooper Theory. Today we have a good friend of mine, Cole Roemer. He's a future chiropractor, cliff jumper, musician, writer, adrenaline junkie, and honestly, who knows what else he's getting himself into these days. As you can tell, Cole does a little bit of everything, which is exactly what I want to get into today on the show. The importance of living in the moment, being present, and having a creative outlet in your life, or in Cole's case, a whole bunch of different outlets.
And honestly, I think more people need that, because just having creative outlets and having multiple creative outlets just frees your mind up a little bit, makes life more fun.
We get a little bit into anxiety, our experiences with meditation.
And I saw these, kind of lights go through, and I was at that point of just pure focus, and my entire body started to vibrate. It was the weirdest feeling in the world.
Get ready, guys. This is a first ever 2-hour episode where we kind of just let the conversation roll and see where it goes. Once again, this is episode 4 of the Blooper Theory. Enjoy. Out in Johnson City today. Beautiful morning. What is it, about 9 a.m.?
9:30.
9:30 a.m. Guys, this is a exclusive. You can't really get this episode or this location unless you know Cole.
It's very true. This is my element.
How do you like it out here, dude?
It's probably my favorite place in the world. It just makes me feel nice and relaxed. Love the river. Love being outside. Don't get enough of this in California.
I mean, there's definitely a lot of spots in California where you can get this, but yeah, you can't just find this in your backyard.
It's easy to just get in the slump and get in that bubble of California. Then you're always inside, you're always studying, and then I have my piano and I have my guitar, and then I'll just spend hours inside.
Dude, I mean, so it's a great place to have then, something like this to kind of bring you back to your roots, to the ground.
Yeah, no, it definitely grounds you. That's why I like coming back, I don't know, maybe once every 3 months. Go cliff jumping, get outside, get a suntan, which I don't get in California either for some reason. So,
but it's a sunny state, bro. But you do live in Northern California, San Jose.
It's kind of gloomy sometimes, man.
I feel like it's always gloomy. Every time I've been in San Francisco, it's it's gloomy at least once or twice, and then a little bit of sunshine, then again gloomy.
Yeah.
So Silicon Valley, all that up there it's a lot of rain, dude.
Yeah. I don't like the rain. I like when it rains maybe, once per week. That's perfect. It's a little change in the week. But if it rains every day, it's just depressing.
Yeah. Well, guys, that's pretty much a lot of the topics we're going to be covering today. But yeah, dude, welcome back to Texas.
Thank you.
Cole's been out of here for, how long has it been since he last been here?
4 months.
4 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, for anyone that doesn't know, Cole is studying to be a chiropractor.
Yes, sir.
So he's almost done, but I won't spoil too much. We'll kind of jump right into it. All right, Cole. For our listeners who might not know who you are, which, we got a little bit of listeners, but they might not know who you are. Tell us a little about what you do, who you are.
What do you want to know about me?
Whatever you want to tell the world, dude.
Let's see. I love to play music, play piano. I just picked that up pretty recently. I grew up drumming, then switched to guitar when I was about 14. And I've also always been addicted to adrenaline. So I love to cliff jump. I love to ride bikes. And that's basically what I do just about every day.
All right, dude. I'm about to lead this a little more deeper here. All right. For everyone who doesn't know, where were you born?
I was born in Austin, Texas.
Austin, Texas. And then you lived out there for a couple of years, and then you moved out to Johnson City, right?
Yeah. So Austin, Texas, lived out there, went to public school until 6th grade. Then in 6th grade, I went to a private Christian school for a year.
That must have been nice.
It was terrible. It was the worst thing ever. And then I didn't want to go there anymore. And then my parents were looking at land. They were like, okay, we found this place in Johnson City. And then my dad thought we were both going to hate it. So we go out here and we fall in love with it. It was the coolest thing ever. So it was about 12 years ago, probably.
That's 14, 12 years ago then.
Yeah.
So you've seen this city pretty much grow to what it is. Guys, if you've been here, it's still a pretty small city.
Yeah.
So it probably was even smaller.
So yeah, I think when I moved here, there were 1,100 people. But now I think it's grown to close to 2,000. Because my high school used to be 1A, I graduated with a class of 50 total people, but I think it's more now. I think it's like 75 to 100. So it's
if you're not from Texas, I don't know how other school districts and other states do it, but right here we have from like 1A to like, I think now it's like even 6A. So when I was in high school, like the top was 5A. So pretty much Cole graduated with like 20 students in his graduating class. This is how
50.
This is how small we're talking about. My class was like 800.
That's disgusting. Like, how do you? I wonder if that's harder to get into the top 10% in that case, or like with 50, you know, to try to get into your college.
I mean, honestly, you know, I don't want to go too deep into the math right now, but I think, there is a bigger pool of people. Yeah. So I guess there is that you have more people to compete with, but there's also probably a bigger pool of people who don't care.
Yeah, I mean, that's very true. Because with Johnson City, I don't know, you had 10 really, really intelligent people, probably. So it's kind of hard to compete with them. But after 10, it's just people that don't give a shit.
Yeah. So Cole really had like 10 people to compete with. Yeah, guys, he was actually valedictorian. How was that experience?
Well, I was actually number 2.
You lied to me many years.
No, I was number 2, but the real valedictorian of our class, I think he was 0.1 or something ahead of me. He got in trouble for stealing a purse the last week before school, and then he stole money. I feel really bad for him. He was kind of, he didn't have a lot of money and stuff. So he found himself in those situations. But yeah, he got in trouble for that. And then basically 3 days before graduation, they took everything away from National Honor Society. They took the valedictorian thing away from him. And they were like, well, Cole, you get to have it.
You get to have it. Sounds
like, okay. Thank you. I appreciate it. That was one of the most nerve-wracking things in my life, though, the valedictorian speech.
Dude, is it recorded somewhere?
Yeah.
Do you still have it?
It's recorded somewhere. Yeah, I practiced quite a bit, but oh my God, it was all a blur, man. I would go up there, and I hate public speaking anyway, but
Get it close.
Probably, I don't know, the speech was about 5 pages long, but the first 2 pages, I remember nothing. It was just all a blur.
Dude, you like writing.
Yeah, I do love writing. I write just about every day. I write a lot of poetry. Dude, I write short stories and stuff like that. We're gonna
get into that, dude. He's always sending me stuff, and a lot of the time he has a particular taste. Let's just say that.
Cole, I like the dark.
Cole likes the dark stuff, like horror. Like this is a guy with a very unique mind right here who we're speaking with. It could get scary at times. But so yeah, then you finished high school, went to A&M, which is actually where I met Cole back in, was it sophomore year?
Yeah.
Was it sophomore year or was it summer of freshman? No, it was
No, it was summer freshman year going into sophomore year, right?
Yeah. I think that's what it was.
So yeah, we hung out, and I think our friend Mark just kept calling him C, and I never picked up on the name for about a month. So I did not know his name for probably close to a month, and I was just like, hey dude. And he did the same thing to me too. So we didn't even know each other's name for an entire month of hanging out every day.
Dude, that summer was amazing. It's probably one of the best summers I've had in college.
Yeah, oh, for sure.
Dude, and this was a time like
the World Cup too.
The World Cup, everything. Like this was a time when like you're still in college and you're kind of still figuring stuff out. Like there's not really a lot of pressure. Like, okay, you got to get an internship. The real world's coming. Like everything's pretty much taken care of. You're still pretty much being supported.
Yeah.
So that was definitely like the peak of like fun in college for sure.
For sure.
And then that's actually where, was it that year where I kind of got into BMX with you?
I think it was the year after, because that's when you started getting into film. So
yeah, guys, also, by the way, this is the guy who pretty much inspired me to get into film. I wouldn't say inspired, but like...
I think Jay Alvarez did that for you.
No, but you were making those videos, remember? There's little like videos around your apartment, the little BMX videos. And then I had recently done a video, the road trip video, and I don't know, like we've always been pretty competitive about certain things, and I was kind of like, yo, I want to like get on this just to kind of see how I can do.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, Cole just did it for fun. Like, and then I just got more and more into it and even more into it.
Yeah, for real. And then boom,
And
now
then-
you're making professional videos.
And now I'm making videos.
It started from 15-second videos at the falls or cliff jumping and stuff. We were like, let's see how many likes we can get. I bet I can beat you, pretty much.
All iMovie. Like, I don't even know if we have any. Actually, you might have all some of those videos.
Yeah, I definitely have probably over 10.
Dude, I'll
From both of
probably
us.
put some in the video as well, like of these early days videos. Like,
Just trying to be GoPro stars, man.
trying to go pro stars, get on Insta. Honestly, we weren't even thinking about Instagram.
No,
This was
not at all.
This was like back in the days where you're just finding something new, something creative to do, and like you love it.
Yeah, exactly. And honestly, I think more people need that, because just having creative outlets and having multiple creative outlets just frees your mind up a little bit, makes life more fun.
That's actually what I wanted to get into, dude. Like everyone, I feel like with such a world that's so fast paced, like not a lot of people have like creative outlets or ways of expressing their creativity.
Yeah,
'Cause
absolutely.
I think like nowadays, like especially like creativity, most people think of like musicians or like videographers, all these like the entertainment kind of business. But there's a lot of forms of like creativity that you can just do for fun. Like that's kind of like, because you're going to be a chiropractor, and I don't know if you have like actual like drive or like passion to be any of these like professionally, but you still like do these things all the time.
Well, it just keeps you sane, you know? You have to do other things. If you just do one thing all your life, it's pretty boring. Makes it a little meaningless. So
Yeah, I mean that's me too, dude. Like with the podcast, with everything, like I'm always trying new things. Like even with the BMX, like I knew I would probably never get to your level. Like this is like, it's just you've been doing it so long, like that's what you do. But the fact that you just try new stuff, like that's what I always try to push to people. Like have like some way of expressing your creativity.
yeah, whether it's painting, whether it's making videos, whether it's making music, it's all art. So.
Yeah, honestly, I think I was reading an article, which I'll link down in the show notes, but it was pretty much about how like creativity is like critical to like your happiness.
Yeah.
And like it actually like expands like your brain, and like there's a bunch of benefits to having like a creative outlet.
Well, I think it helps a lot with memory retention too, because you know, I'll go through nights of playing music and trying to create stuff, and then probably shouldn't say this, but I won't study as much for my test. But it's fine. Like, I guess just looking over it a couple times after playing music and after going through that process just makes it easier. I guess the brain's more awake or something. I could go into that more scientifically, but I'm not going to.
Well, we can get into the music, dude. I know you started playing drums, right? Was that the first instrument you learned how to play?
Yeah, started playing the drums at 5. I started playing the drums and riding dirt bikes the same year.
So how did it start? Was it just you just saw some drummer? You were just in the music naturally? Did it just come to you? Like
No,
what was the?
So one of my buddies, he lived next door. He was probably 5 years older than me. So yeah, he lived about 3 houses down. He played drums and he rode dirt bikes, and his name was Nick. Want to be exactly like Nick. So that's how it all started. So I started taking lessons from his drum teacher, and then just tried to progress from there. Want to be like Nick.
I want to be like Nick. What's Nick doing nowadays?
So Nick died, actually.
Oh gosh.
To get a little depressing, yeah. He was riding a motorcycle probably about 4 years ago. And yeah, he was riding without a helmet and driving down in downtown Austin, and someone opened a car door right in front of him, and he hit the car door and then crashed pretty bad. So yeah.
Damn.
But he's still with us spiritually.
I mean, that is a sad story to hear. But I mean, so Nick was definitely an important person growing up, at least.
Yeah.
From
absolutely.
to get you inspired into it. So, okay, so then you got into drums, got your first pair of drums, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
And then you kind of just went at it, practicing. What was your honestly? What's it, like? How's your drive? Or what motivates you like to always play music and like continue? Because I mean, I've tried like trumpet, guitar, a bunch of stuff, and like I don't know if it's a passion thing. I don't know if it's like not having enough drive or not having enough interest in it, like fully to like want to keep like learning more.
Especially now, I think it's more of learning it at such a young age. It's kind of ingrained in the mind at this point. So learning music now is a little bit easier, rather than if I just picked it all up at once at this age. So I'm super thankful for that. But what keeps me going is just, it's so fun to have something like just a very brief foundation of what you think it's going to sound like in your head. And then you work on it for, 6-8 hours. And then you have this 2-minute piece of this pretty elaborate song. And then listening to that back just gives me chills. It's so fun because it's creating art, and it's so beautiful.
I'm kind of the same way, like with like just creation in general of like you go out, you film, you photograph something, then you go through the process of like spending hours and hours like making it.
Yeah.
And then like the end product. Like,
well, I'm sure you watch your videos more than anyone watches your videos, right? Just because, it's so fun to watch what you've created.
Yeah. I think that's important too. Like if you're not finding joy in your own like work and stuff, like what are you doing it for?
Yeah, absolutely.
So what's your favorite part about it? Do you actually enjoy the process of all the hours into it? Or is it more like, because I think with everything you do, like there has to be like work put into it. And like sometimes it's hard work, but the end result is always like worth it. Like for you, do you enjoy the process of it, or is it mostly the end product, the creation?
It's interesting with the end product though, because you always listen to it back. No matter how many times you tweak it, there's still something else you can do. So with that said, I think I like the process of it more and just going through it. And then you hear something in your head, you're like, oh, violins could be added to this part. And just those little things. And then, so the process is more fun to me.
Honestly, I think that's something also that like I like about your stuff. Like, cause I know a lot of other musicians, and I know a lot of people like hold back from putting stuff out just because like the whole perfection, like it's not quite perfect. And art, I don't think is ever perfect, especially from the creator.
Yeah.
Which is good because it leaves you room for improvement. But like people get to the point where like it's like the most minuscule things that the general consumer doesn't even realize is going on, doesn't even like know about it. And like that lack of like trying to be perfect, trying to get everything just right, like stops you from like putting stuff out. Which, I mean, don't get me wrong, like I'm all about like putting good work out, especially if that's what you're trying to do. But I think it's just as good as like seeing someone grow along the way. Like you put like where you started, regardless, this is how good I am, it's put out to the world. And then the years pass and then you kind of see where you started. Like I love seeing that in people. Yeah.
And on yours, you can go back on your Instagram. And even I do that sometimes. It's cool to see where you started in those 15-second Instagram videos and then seeing where you are now, seeing the growth. And that is so cool. And that's exactly what I do with my music. So I kind of like the imperfection. I would always, I want to record something properly one day, but I do like the element of the imperfection and the raw sound of some things that I put out. So
nah, dude, I vibe with that, dude. Because I think that's, besides a good song and that being like inspiring, there's also the whole process of someone's journey is also very inspiring, to see. And like, because sometimes you're like, dude, this guy's already at like the peak, because people just see like the portfolio of your major work, but a lot of people don't see all of like the struggles, all like when you clearly you sucked.
Oh, of course.
Like they don't see that, So I think it's like super cool that you put stuff out there already. Like, even though it's probably not to the where you want to be,
not even close.
Not even close. But it's like, it's just good to see.
Yeah, and it's also interesting how long it takes to make a song that you actually like. For example, I mean, I started really making music about 2 years ago, and it just started so bad. But at the time, I was like, oh, this is sick. This is the best song I've ever written, And then 20 later, you finally get the sound that you want. You finally get the one that you want to work on more. So it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of time to do anything, really.
So what do you do to like combat like perfectionism? Like, is there something like in you? Is it mostly just like you kind of realize in your mind, like, let's just put this stuff out there and let's see how it does? Or is there something that you do? Because I mean, you can be a perfectionist for a lot of things, not just music. Because I know it holds, and I had an episode about it, how I personally kind of just do it. But like, do you have a process?
I wouldn't even say I'm a perfectionist, honestly. I just try to do things as good as I can. But, you know, if I don't have the knowledge to make that next level or whatever, I'll put it out there. I wouldn't say I'm a perfectionist.
All right, dude. Well, that's good to know. Dude, this is getting my leg numb in here.
I know, right?
It's like
my posture's terrible.
My posture's terrible.
I'm a chiropractor.
We'll get into that right now. So then you're also writing music, right? Or you're attempting to write music.
Yeah.
How's that going?
No, it's good. So, I mean, we have a lot of tests in chiropractic school. I think one semester we literally had about 45 tests. So the music, tests. Yeah, it was terrible. I mean, they're not terribly hard, but it's just the process of studying, and it's just obnoxious at that point on your 40th test, you know, going into the finals. But it all started with procrastinating. So
that's how everything starts.
Yeah, I would just be procrastinating for, you know, to study for one of my tests, and I'd start writing music, and then next thing I know, 6 hours later, it's 12 o'clock in the morning. Like, oh, well, I have this song, but I haven't studied for this test yet. But,
you know, I found myself in the same like thing back in college when I was first getting into videos. Like, I mean, I always procrastinated. I don't know why. Like, it's just how I've always been. Yeah. And but when I really got into videos, like I had an exam, and all week I would just be editing, making videos, editing, like the same video, and then be like, damn, I have like 12 hours left to study for this exam, and like I haven't even like opened the book. Like that's when I knew, I'm like, maybe I should pursue this instead.
Well, that brings up another point of how I kind of am in general, and that's I feel like I need the stress and I need the chaos to perform properly. I think that's why I like to cliff jump too. I feel very comfortable in chaotic moments and intense moments. So I think it's really worked for me, you know, all the way up until this point of, you know, putting things off and getting to the very last minute and having to succeed. You have no other option than to study for the next 3 hours straight, or you're going to fail. So,
but for you, is it like, do you retain like information better, not just for the exam, but like actually long term? Because I'm assuming you actually need all the information you're learning. And sometimes exams, not all the time, but sometimes exams, like it's just you test you for that, and then you never need it. So like,
and that's kind of how it is on some things. I mean, as a chiropractor, you actually do deal with a lot of chemistry classes and pretty science-based classes, really. But, you know, there's some things that are important, but you're not necessarily going to use them in practice every single day. It's important to have knowledge on it and be able to, you know, if you see a book, you're like, okay, I know what that is, but you're not going to be describing photosynthesis to your patients every day or something like that, you know? So
imagine. All right. So moving on, chiropractic. I know back in,
I don't even know if chiropractic is a word.
Chiropractor?
Chiropractic.
The practice of chiropractic. I don't know where we're going with this, but I know back in college you were studying what, biomedical sciences?
Yeah, biomedical science. So I wanted to be a vet before chiropractic school, but I worked with a veterinarian here in Johnson City for a couple years, and I saw some pretty gruesome stuff that was too much for me. It was terrible and terrifying. So
is that why you stopped pursuing it?
Yeah, pretty much. It's, you know, it's like, do I really want to do this every day? It's just, you know, gruesome stuff. If you want to get into the details, we sure can, but
let's hear about it. We got plenty of time.
I would just go, you know, to work one day. We do surgery on a dog, and the doctor said this was the second most disgusting thing he's ever seen in his life. And it was this cat, and they lost the cat for a couple of days, and it had this gash in its buttock area and smelled really bad. They brought it into the vet, and we had it on this table, and we start pulling back the fur. We shave it a little bit, and there's just maggots everywhere oozing out of it. It was the most disgusting thing I have personally ever seen in my life. And then just, amputations, and it's always pretty depressing because it's usually it's usually during holidays where people put down their dog. So that's depressing as well. And I'm not putting down vets by any means. It's just a special kind of work, and you have to know what you're getting into. And I did not know I was getting into that. So it was, life-changing for me. That's why I picked chiropractic. Less invasive.
I mean, yeah, it is pretty intense to see all that kind of stuff. Like, I know personally, when I first got into college, I actually wanted to be a doctor, and I went a little bit freshman year into the pre-med. I mean, I didn't get to see all the gruesome stuff. I just took one class of biology, and I was like, hey, this is probably not for me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not a person who likes to read a lot, retain a lot of information, then get tested over that information, like, by the dot. Like, remembering all these terms and words, and, like, it wasn't for me. Like, I was more of a physics guy. Like, how can I apply this and, like, get it properly done and whatnot? But that, props to you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. No, I mean, that's the exact opposite with me, because engineering and physics and all that just didn't make as much sense. I hated the math courses. I hated, what was the website called where you turn in all your homework and you have 3 chances to get it right, and then if you don't, it just gives you that big red X.
I forgot the website, but I know the one you're talking about.
That was the worst thing ever. And y'all had to do that 4 times a quarter, probably.
Every year.
I had to do that once.
Every year I had
was
to do
the worst
it.
class.
I took math until like junior year, linear algebra or some stuff like that. Like, you get to a point where, like, okay, you got the basic math, and then you go pre-cal, then you go calculus, and you're like, okay, I can still see how this derivatives, relates to everything. And then you go Cal 2, Cal 3, and then linear, and then you're just using terms like space and whatnot. I'm like, when did we lose, like, 2 + 2? Like,
imaginary numbers.
Yeah, like, when did imaginary numbers come into this? Like, will I ever... Like,
have you?
No, I've never used an imaginary number. Like, it's just like, I don't know, like, that's my issue with, like, I guess some of, like, college courses. Like, they're useful, but, like, not everything's like useful. Like, it's a lot of, like, stuff that
I think what college is a lot of it just putting you through how much you can mentally take, and seeing if you can take this course load and you can take these tests, you can do that, then you're set for the real world, and you'll be able to, deal with things under pressure, deal with things under stress. And I think it just does a good job in weeding out that area and trying to find a good work ethic,
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was, like, the last episode, I was like, honestly, like, the thing I got from college was just, like, how do you think on your feet, like, critical thinking, like, the networking aspect of it, like, meeting people and stuff like that. Because, I mean, there's high school, and then when you get to college, it's usually everyone's trying to do something, within the professional field. So those connections are there. So that's a lot what I found, like, useful. But I feel like actual classes to get the profession that you need, like, you could easily do it in 2 years. Like,
for sure.
Or, like,
for sure.
Like, first year is a lot of general classes that you took already in high school.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I guess you can take the AP exam and pass that, but, like, okay.
Which is so hard.
Yeah, but literally, I was learning.
My friend Puvin got a 5 on that, apparently. Biology, a 5.
But
Perfect score.
I got a 5 in Spanish, and that was ever about it. I got, like, 3s and, like, some other. I took a lot of AP classes in high school, which, thinking back now, like, it caused more stress than anything, because I ended up taking all of them again.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it was no use. I could have just straight rolled academic, like, just having some, like, easy courses, like, enjoying high school. So yeah, guys, tip. Unless you're going really, really deep into academic and you want to impress your school, and maybe you're going to an Ivy League, you're going to these top tier schools, and you want to have an edge, For sure. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, they do help. If you pass your AP exams, you can exclude those from like your college, but
just pass the AP exams.
But just pass the AP exams, and I mean, I didn't do that.